On a recent Boundary Waters trip, I cracked the seat to my canoe. My paddle was between me and the seat. I was in the bow seat and cracked it. I'm going to take you through the steps of repairing it today. Yankee Prepper said that he wouldn't let me live this down if I didn't repair this seat. So I'm going to go through and repair it. You can see the crack in the middle of my drawings here. And I've marked out where I'm going to end up drilling some holes. My plan is to let the resin sink in to those holes. Given the seat's fairly flexible, I want to reinforce those. And then I've X'd off where the aluminum crossbeam is, and we'll go through and repair it here. So I drilled those holes with a 5/32 drill bit, and that's going to give a good place for the resin to sink into the seat and attach to reinforce it here. I went ahead and drilled out along the crack also to give just a little more area for the resin to seep in and to, I guess, reinforce along where this crack is. This repair to the seat is probably going to be stronger than the rest of the seat. You'll want to prep the area that you're going to fiberglass with acetone, or in my case I used 95% ethyl alcohol because I didn't have any acetone on hand. I'm going to make this repair with fiberglass cloth rather than the fiberglass mat. I think this is going to be cleaner and easier to work with, rather than having to sand down a fiberglass mat. So you want to mix up an ounce of the resin to about 10 drops of the hardener. Once you have your resin mixed up, you want to go through and really saturate the resin onto the cloth or mat, depending on what you're doing. So I went through and saturated the fiberglass cloth on both sides with the resin, and I'm letting it dry. I'll go back and sand it, and then from there, depending on how strong this fix is, I might lay it up one more time with a fiberglass cloth and matting and resin again. I sanded the repair down to with 100 grit sandpaper, and you can see just a bit of the fiberglass is poking through. The repair is strong though. It doesn't flex much, so I'm going to go through and just mix up a bit more resin and touch up these where the bits of fiberglass are poking through. Sand it up one more time, and I think I'm going to leave it like that. I can't find a paint that quite matches it. This is the closest I got, and I really don't like this color of paint. So I put this last coat on with just a cheap art brush of my wife's, and I'm letting it dry now. You can still see a bit where the fiberglass fabric ended up getting scratched up. I think that's going to be fine though. Everything's sealed up with resin now. I'm going to let it dry and see if I want to sand it back down one more time. I installed the seat of the canoe back into the canoe. I'm leaving it as is. I'm not going to go through and paint the seat, at least this time. I think it looks fine and the repair doesn't stand out too much. It's perfectly strong, just as strong as the seat itself or stronger, and I'm really happy with the result here. Wow.